Okay guys, we need to review on Jamba Juice. Currently, Jamba Juice was founded in 1990 in San Luis Obispo, California. Kurt Perrin was the founder, and also three of his friends, Kevin Peters, Joe Varega, and Linda Olms. And Jamba Juice also operates in the healthy juice and smoothie bar industry, and they're currently operating in 6 countries: the United States, South Korea, the Philippines, Mexico, United Arab Emirates, and Taiwan. And there is also more than 800 locations in North America. And then I'll transfer it over to Jeremy so he can take a lead.
All right, thanks a lot, John. So to get things started, I collaborated with Brian and the other guys in the department to gain a better understanding of Jamba Juice as a company and to look at your past performance of annual operations. And we were able to quickly notice that there's been a gradual decline in your financial assets over the past 5 years. And this has kind of been brought on by a diverse group of problems. So in order to get the ball rolling, we decided to begin by creating a SWOT analysis, as you can see in our diagram here, for your company, Jamba Juice. And this really helps set the groundwork for how we want to help you and your company to get back on track to be the most successful smoothie company in the industry once again. To begin, some strengths you possess. Jamba Juice has cornered the original market for exclusive smoothie business when you opened your doors almost 3 decades ago. And this kind of led into you guys having the most strong reputation, being the most well-known smoothie provider. And this also means that you guys are the only successful public smoothie company in the industry, which actually strengthens your stock value quite a bit. On the other hand, your company is lacking in a couple of categories, however. You guys see, Jamba Juice seems to have an inability to adapt to new threats and competition as they enter into the market, and you have a lack of limited seasonal items on the menu, which can diminish your sales year-round because of possible climate conditions in other regions. So this would be a great opportunity for Jamba Juice to expand your menu and add additional items to alleviate these problems. And by doing so, I think you're going to see how much your market will actually broaden in the coming future. I think this will also assist you in combating the threats you're facing in the industry, like the increased competition where smoothies are being offered elsewhere, as well as the increasing demand for convenience by smoothie customers. Now my partner Brian is going to discuss some ways you can identify and diagnose these problems that you have been seeing in recent years.
Yeah, so when we dove a little deeper into your problems, we saw a lot of problems, but we decided to kind of focus on 2 of them just because that's kind of easier to tackle, and it's we think these 2 problems specifically are the biggest things that are holding you back, and they'll benefit you the most if you solve them. So the first problem is your inability to adapt to competition. So 3 decades ago, you were founded, and you were revolutionary in your market. You were the first smoothie company to really focus on fresh ingredients, being healthy, and just exclusively selling smoothies. Well, you have 850 locations now in North America, but there's other competition like Starbucks and McDonald's that have now entered your market because it's easy for them to do that. They're so big and their brand name is so powerful that they can just jump right in. Starbucks alone has 11,000 locations in North America. So you didn't adapt when that competition entered your market. In 2006, your stocks were up to $60 a share. And now when we look at it, you're down to $8 a share. You can't tell me that just got sprung upon you. I mean, you just failed to adapt to your competition. So the other problem that we saw was your location. So you started out more west and kind of in warmer regions, and when you started to expand, you expanded a lot north. A lot of your North American locations are up north, where in the winter months, it can get down to, below freezing. And who really wants to go drink an ice cold smoothie when it's freezing cold outside? So you see huge dips in your revenue during that time, and you really need to put more thought into where you are expanding to, because you're losing a lot of revenue by expanding to those areas. So you may ask why this is a management problem, why this just wasn't in the cards. So first thing, it's a lack of adaptation on your part. As I mentioned, you saw the warning signs and you didn't react to them. You have to think ahead and think about where you're going to have to adapt next. The other thing was a lack of planning. You didn't plan what was going to happen when you started to expand north. You didn't think about what your product is and where it's going to work the best. The other thing is you have a lack of differentiation. It's easy for companies like Starbucks and McDonald's to enter your market because you have a product that's very easy to duplicate. So we think that those are the biggest issues that you need to solve here leading forward. Otherwise, you're going to keep seeing this downward turn.
All right, some solutions to Brian's problems, like he was saying, are there are several solutions that can help you overcome these current issues. One of these options is to create a new product line. Although you have Talbot Teas as a partner, many of the Jamba Juice locations do not brew the teas in the stores, leaving them less business during winter. You can provide their own brand of hot tea that is sold in stores that will provide energy and wellness, which also goes along with your company's ideologies. And another option is seasonal drinks. Seasonal drinks is what competition like Starbucks does best, and they are very good at marketing it. Jamba Juice needs to learn from their competition and create seasonal blends of cold and warm beverages that will attract more customers. Okay, location placement, which is another basic way, like what Brian was saying. Even though you already have many locations that have winter weather, they can slow your advancement into these areas and focus on fixing these current stores and these locations. And another problem is steady management, and a solution for this is to reassure the investors and the customers that these will increase sales and product quality.
Alright, some of the actions that we're suggesting that you take. We recommend opening more southern locations. A lot of times whenever people want a cold drink, it's going to be warm weather, and vice versa for the warm drinks and cold weather. Nobody really wants to drink a cold drink whenever it's freezing outside, so we would recommend opening more southern locations because the majority of your menu is cold drinks. We want to go with less seasonal, but also more seasonal options. More in the theme with like Christmas and winter, stuff like that, but less for warm drinks and warm climates and cold drinks and cold climates. And then possible drive-through option will be really convenient for the customer. If they're looking for a quick, convenient beverage without having to get out of their car, not many of your stores offer that right now. And Starbucks and McDonald's, who are the biggest competitors, almost all of their stores offer that. So that's just one reason why they would prefer to go there, in addition to the main recommendation already being there.
Alright, thank you, Kobe. One thing, if we put any or all of these solutions into place, we're going to need to have a standard set of evaluation in place to look at where we were and where we're moving forward. So the way I did this was sets of key performance indicators or KPIs. The first set that I'm going to talk about is dealing with stock information that concerns momentum. So we're going to look at the moving average and across of your company. And the second set of KPIs is still about stock information, but this is looking at the risk versus reward when people look at Jamba Juice to buy Jamba Juice stock and how the company is looking from that standpoint. And the third thing is marketability. Marketability is the one thing that Jamba Juice is definitely struggling with it not having as many brick and mortar stores as competitors like Starbucks and McDonald's that can easily implement drinks into their product line. So the first set of KPIs that I want to discuss is just a graph. This is just a simple graph of your stocks. I put the simple moving average for 200-day and 50-day on it. When your 200-day, which is in pink, is higher than your 50-day moving average, that means that the company is generally headed in a fashion where it's driving its stock price down. It's not performing as well as it has in the past. You'll see when it crossed, what that's called a depth cross, you'll see that the company really took a dip when they crossed over from their moving averages, simple moving average for 50-day being higher to lower. So one thing that we want to see in the momentum of the stock is we want to start to close that gap between our 50 and 200-day. If we're seeing this, even though the stock necessarily isn't going higher, we're seeing a momentum in the company that's showing that the stock in the future will be moving in an upward fashion and hopefully one day cross over to be a golden cross company. Second set of KPIs that I want to talk about, I delved a little bit further into the financials of your company and looked at the risk versus reward of buying Jamba Juice stock. You can see up there the beta is 0.08, which is extremely low, especially for a small market cap company that has potential to eat up some market share. Your CAPM, essentially the return of your company over the past 20 years average is about the same as a 10-year treasury bond, which is extremely low again. So Jamba Juice is essentially returning at the rate as one of those bonds. So what we want to do is when we put these solutions in place, hopefully that will bump our beta up or the risk of the stock, and in turn bump the CAPM or return of the stock up. We have a lot of movement to give in terms of risk versus reward. So we have a lot of risk that we should be willing to give up in order to get the return, because we're such a small market cap company. So we could move into an area where people could see us as emerging into the market and starting to eat back some of the market share that we once had. Now the first set of KPIs that I want to discuss is all about marketability. We want to see the new customers that we're acquiring in cold locations and warm locations, why they're joining, and this could be as simple as an employee asking, have you been here before, have you not, or developing an incentive program. Then we want to divide sales by segment. So we want to see if we start moving stores in more southern locations, are we making more money? Are we getting more return on the investment because the overhead might be larger in some cities? And then the last thing we need to look at, whether you implement these solutions or not, is demographic analysis. What customers are you making the most money on? What customers are you not making money on? What customers are out of your reach, and what customers can you reach, and how can you reach them? So these are just a set of KPIs that we can look back and 3 months, 6 months, 9 months to see if we're headed in a good direction with these new solutions. And with all this, I'm going to hand it over to Jeremy so he can conclude our presentation.
So to kind of conclude and summarize what our consulting firm thinks you guys that Jamba Juice should do as a company, after analyzing many different management operations that Jamba Juice currently employs, I think offering a larger variety of products under menu is going to allow Jamba Juice to keep up with its competitors and possibly eliminate those ongoing and other potential threats brought on by these outside forces. And also, we feel redesigning the management and operation strategies would also provide Jamba Juice with an efficient model that would set the groundwork for new ways to adapt and innovate to such a fast-paced and changing market like they operate in. So we hope we've been a big help to you and your company, and we hope to see your future grow, or your success grow in the future.